Let's walk and whoa.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. We just completed our interview, and now we're going to talk about the Stogies of the week. We're going to do some listener feedback. I think we do the listener feedback first.
What
do you say?
I just
Go
say
ahead.
a quick 30-second or 1 minute. Let's go around the room with our viajes. How's that?
Yes,
Before we
let's do that. Yes.
We'll start with Will.
Oh, nice. I hadn't smoked the Zen in at least 2 years of this blend. So this has been sitting in my humidor. Nice cocoa flavor. It has this, I kind of call it a little bit of the chock full of nuts kind of coffee that you used to smell in New York. Some nut on it, smoking very smooth. Perfecto's burning like a champ here. This cigar never lets me down. I actually like the Robusto better, but I'm surprised how well the Zen is smoking tonight. Really good.
I can definitely say that there's chocolate and nuts, but I can't say that there's a salt component, which would make me say chocolate salty balls. But
Yeah.
there's definite chocolate and there's definite nuts. I agree with your flavor assessment. I found the first third to kind of be, it kind of had to find its way a little bit, and once it got past maybe that first inch, maybe the first part of the Perfecto, really came into its own. It's very balanced, and those flavors are very prominent.
I used to clip this Perfecto, and I didn't tonight.
I didn't tonight either.
And when that maybe because I got a little bit of that too. It took a couple minutes for this flavor to start enveloping.
Yeah. Mark Jr., you're smoking another Viaje Perfecto as well. Did you have to clip both ends of it?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
This is closed on both ends. You know what, dude? This is pretty awesome. As a matter of fact, I'm crushing it. I'm already to the third band on it. So
yeah, that's got a lot of bands on it.
It does. But I'll say this: this was one of their best releases, I think, to date, and it'll be a shame when they're all gone. But it's got a nice spice to it. It's definitely got a little bit of a crispness to it that the Oro and the Platino blends both share, I think. That paired with really impeccable construction, it makes this really an enjoyable experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. The Oro that you're smoking, the limited edition Perfecto, is one of my favorite Viaje blends as well. I bought probably 20 of those when they first came out, and I go back and smoke them fairly regularly, and they never disappoint. So,
very good.
Stogie Santa, over to you. You're smoking the first Friends and Family release from Viaje.
To be honest with you, I found the spices backed off. Not that it was a spicy cigar to begin with, but it's more in the background. Again, I get a little I would say a cocoa flavor, chocolate flavor type scenario. It's okay. It's a good cigar. It really is. It's nothing. I don't think it's one of his better limited releases, but it's doing okay.
Yeah,
it's doing all right.
You haven't put it out yet, which says
it's
something.
It is.
It's not dry, right?
It's not. And believe it or not, like one of the components, I don't know if it's the Scotch or not. I got a little bit. I got almost like a saltiness to it as I'm getting down to the end of it. But it's a doable cigar. It really is, providing the price. But
before we get into our listener feedback, I want to mention our very special sponsor, Mr. J. Havana Smoke Shop, Ocean State Cigars. So Mr. J. Havana Smoke Shop is the store that we broadcasted from last week. And Ocean State Cigars is the maker of the J. Grotto series cigars, a full line, everything from a Connecticut all the way to a limited edition Lancero. You can check them out at oceanstatecigars.com. We've got 2 more episodes we're going to be doing, and I believe next week or the follling week.
Following week, I believe, right?
Yeah, something like that.
No, it's next week, I think.
I think it's next week. I think it's before I travel. Yeah, it's next week. We're going to be there, and there is quite possibly a new announcement, a new size maybe. Could be. I'm not saying. It's just a rumor at this point. It's a rumor. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully there'll be a special announcement. If not, Paul is always willing to give us the scoop on what he's got going on with his blends, which I'm very excited about. I'm very excited about all the stuff that Paul is doing with his cigars and tobacco. So make sure you check us out next week. We'll be broadcasting live from that shop. And then again on November 7th, it's rumored that Will might be in the studio live sometime. I can't confirm nor deny. I heard that rumor. but we're trying to get Will here for a show as well. That'll be sometime in November.
We're gonna have Christmas in November.
Oh, it's
Christmas
gonna
in
be
November.
Oh wow, I can't wait.
I wanted to just read some listener feedback that we got. I sent this around to the entire Stogie Geeks crew, and we were all pretty excited about it. So we wanted to talk about Malcolm from New York, who wrote in and said, just a note of thank you for the ongoing education and entertainment that you gentlemen have provided. The local brick and mortar, 22 miles away, went under. Thanks no less to the 3 discount operation less than 3 miles away. I don't exactly know what he meant by that. But in upstate New York, he says with insane tax load, you needed a second cash crop to afford cigars. So online or local stale disconnects was the only choice. Stogie Geeks to the rescue. I began to study and learn. Pick a Corona first, look for box dates, and try and avoid the lawn mulch. Very well put. Now with his note of joy, while searching for a brick and mortar closer than 65 miles, he got a blip on an upscale shopping town between Syracuse and Utica. Utica? Utica?
Utica.
Utica.
Utica. Attica?
Utica? Utica.
Okay.
It's not Attica, it's Utica.
Utica. And only 18 miles away from the post office where I work in 3 times a week. With a 2-hour lunch and good roads between point A and point B, I set out to find Shangri-La. Did I call first? No. Did I travel the speed limit? Sort of. Would I have enough time to shop? 15 minutes would be stretching it. So he found his way to the front of the store, opened the door. There were tea, towels, and china, fine chocolate, and then a humidor in the rear. A well-dressed, white-haired lady smiled at me as I quickly wove through the teapots and stepped aside. I had reminded myself to multitask, breathe in, breathe out. The spirit of Stogie Santa was whispering in my ear as I looked from one box to the next, and with great delight, I found and mispronounced all of the Spanish names. It's very embodying the Stogie Geek spirit there. Yeah. I walked out into with a beautiful Maduro-wrapped stick and rushed to pay for my prize and hurry back to work. The aforementioned lady gently bagged my cigar and said, "Good choice. I love these. It's a Toro with a slow burn. Give yourself plenty of time to enjoy it." I must have done a quick look about with a puzzled expression. She laughed. "This is my place. I love fine china. I love to eat chocolate, and I love to smoke good cigars." Back to the post office just in time. "Keep up the wonderful job. I'm now going to smoke it because I got it." Listener Malcolm with a very spirited email that we greatly appreciate.
Malcolm, very well written.
Yes, thank you very
Malcolm.
much.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Yes.
Great job.
An awesome
Great
little
job.
story about.
Yes,
I'm really spoiled to have 2 local shops, 4 local shops in Rhode Island. I mean, we don't have to drive very far, right, Mark Jr., to find a local shop that has a good.
I don't think it's anything revolutionary that I'm going to say. I like to go to the shop that Stogie Santa's a part of, and that being said, it's probably only 5 miles tops from my house.
We live about 1.5 miles from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so legitimately, it's probably 3 miles from your house and 5 from mine. So,
right.
Hey, we are absolutely spoiled, and we also
if we can't find anything at the local stores that are miles away, Mark, you and I just raid each other's humidors to find something we want to smoke.
This guy right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can see the humidor in the switch to Mark Jr.'s shot. You can see his humidor in the background there. Yes, very nice, very nice. I also want to mention another sponsor. Speaking of local shops, the Havana Cigar Club, where you can order some food, you can have a cocktail, you can have cigars, you can be a member and get your own locker. So it's a great place to go. That's Havana Cigar Club. There's a $5 off coupon on our website. So if you're in the area, please print one of those out and go into the shop and visit them and have a drink and a cigar and get $5 off. So that's awesome. And I've got a funny story about Mr. J. Havana Smoke Shop when we get to my Stogies of the week. But let's go off to let's start with Mark Jr. this week.
I reached out to a stick that I used to smoke a lot and decided to revisit it because it found its way to the top of my humidor somehow. It's the Arturo Fuente Hemingway short story Natural. It's a 4x46 Perfecto Cameroon wrapper, Dominican binder and filler. They're very reasonably priced at $5.50. I think this smoke gets a bad rap, or at least is very overlooked, and that's a lot to do with the popularity of its Maduro brother. But I'll say this: it is a really awesome smoke. Despite that, it has a really nice Cameroon sweetness with a slight spice and some toastiness. This is a box split for sure, in my opinion, and they age really well. So don't as much as we all like the Maduros, don't overlook the Cameroon ones. I think they're really good.
And which size was this again, Mark?
Short story.
Okay.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. That's good call, Mark.
Will, over to you.
All right, I'm going to talk about the first cigar I had is the Gold Strike by Royal Gold Cigars. Now, Royal Gold Cigars is a very relevant story this year in the cigar industry. For folks who don't know, that's the handmade division now of Swisher International. So folks could say what they want, but it's a very relevant story that they're getting in the game right now. The Gold Strike is their first release. It's a bundle release. The blend kind of intrigued me why I tried it. It's kind of unorthodox by today's standards. It has an Indonesian Sumatra wrapper. The binder's from Basuki, which is in East Java in Indonesia, and it's got Nicaraguan filler. It's a Cuban sandwich. The first half of it started off great. Coffee, chicory, herbs, pepper. I was surprised. It was burning really, really good. It was burning like you were getting that Papa Fritas type of very firm ash on it. Real good. The second half, things changed. Got much more of a mineral component, and then it kind of went downhill. Really the last third was harsh. But for the most part, for 2/3 of the smoke, it wasn't bad. It's a cigar that's going for $25, $45 for a bundle of 15. So price-wise, you can't really go wrong. I put a try one on it.
Okay.
I put a try one. I've had a lot worse bundle cigars than that.
Now, and it's cool for our new listeners. Can you explain what they mean by a sandwich cigar?
Oh, sure. It's so a lot of the premium cigars we talk about are long filler. The actual pretty much the tobacco leaf itself, as opposed to short filler, which is kind of the scraps or the leftover tobacco. And what a Cuban sandwich is, it's kind of a combination of the two. Right. So Papas Fritas is another example of a Cuban sandwich that probably people are familiar with.
Right, absolutely.
Yep.
Mr. Stogie Santa.
I tell you what, I smoked a Krone by Oktoberfest.
Yes, that is their new petite.
I'm dying to hear you about this.
Is it a Corona size or
yes,
petite Corona?
Corona 5x43, I believe.
Yep.
I really enjoyed this smoke. Very toasty. I got that cocoa flavor off the cigar. Impeccable draw. That's my favorite size right now. Even better than that little Petite Robusto.
Oh, I agree.
I just love that cigar.
Imagine.
Right down to the end. And my favorite saying, that back nine of that cigar was awesome. Just awesome. And I think there was only, 5,000 boxes released? Is that correct, Coop?
It was a small amount. I don't remember exactly.
I think it was just for the show anyway. I know that. We ordered as much as we could, and we got 2 boxes in.
It's a whole new spin on that blend.
Oh, it just changes it dramatically.
Yeah, I talked about it a couple weeks ago as well, and it's a whole new spin on that blend.
Yeah,
Mark Jr., now you had this in your list. You want to fill us in on the wrapper binder filler and a little bit about what you thought about it?
Yeah, the wrapper binder filler is the exact same as it had been in the past. So it's a Dominican Cibao Valley Habano with some Dominican binder and filler. It's not your grandfather's Dominican Puro. I actually have another Dominican Puro that's going to be listed in my smokes. Again, that is not the average Dominican Puro. My draw was a little tight on this one, so maybe I didn't get to enjoy the experience Stogie Santa did.
Oh.
I mentioned it in there that, I will be trying more of these, right? But the thing is I would have to disagree. As of right now, I still think the Kurz is the best size in this blend.
That's the Petite Robusto.
Right.
Yeah, that's Paul's wheelhouse right there.
I can understand. I really do. But I smoked 2 of them, and I had 2 beautiful experiences. I just really, I guess maybe, again, only basing on 2. I can't smoke that many at this point because I only got 2 boxes. But anyway, moving on.
Very nice, very nice. I mean, I bought 2 of them, 2 cigars, not 2 boxes.
Did you? What you think?
I have not smoked it yet.
I think the aging on this. Well,
I can't wait to smoke it based on what you guys have said.
Really,
and I'm a huge,
really
like I said, I'm a
enjoyed
huge fan of the blend. So
it's a special. Cool. What do you think of it?
I mean, I liked it. In fact, I talked about it, I think, a couple weeks ago. I don't think it was the show you were on. And I've had 3 of them, and it's growing on me a lot.
Oh, isn't it?
I really like it, yeah.
Oh, I just really, that toasty flavor.
I smoked a Falto Reserva Especial Tres Luis Petit Bellicoso. So
That's a
10 times
mouthful.
fast. Yeah. Huh. This it comes from La Garita Cigar Company, who makes Falto cigars. Began in 1995. Luis Falto is the person who started it. Luis is a concluded taste of many different cigars, came up with all these different blends, makes a lot of different sizes. The little history is in the Stogies feed, so if you go to stogiegeeks.com/Stogies, you can find all the cigars that we've been smoking for each episode. And that whole history is in there, as well as a little bit about the blend profile. A Petit Bellicoso at 5x52, a Cameroon wrapper is added to this one with a Dominican binder and filler. The price is $10, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And this is a new blend coming into my local shops. I really like it. However, it doesn't particularly blow me away, but it's like interesting enough that I want to keep trying more of the different sizes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not wowed by it, but I'm intrigued by it because it's different enough to. And again, Mark, when you go back to your comment of it, Dominican binder and filler, you kind of have this preconceived notion.
Right.
It kind of breaks that mold a little bit and offers unique enough to be able to want to try more. It was awesome. This size, so this is the first Petit Bellicoso from Falto I've smoked. The size with the burn, the draw, and construction were impeccable. And it just made for an outstanding experience. Because the draw was so good, I got just the right amount of smoke. Taking price off the table, I really enjoyed this smoke. It had some spice and a little bit of sweetness that came and went. For $10, I wanted a little more body and flavor from this particular Vitola, and this blend is unique to this size. So they've got different tobaccos that are not in their other lines that are in this size. It could be a little more balanced. Maybe age could solve that. These just came in. So I really don't want to give it a rating because I think it needed a little time to kind of come into its own. I'd like it enough to buy 5 maybe if they were on sale, which is another reason why I kind of gave it a no rating. I'd like to see how they age. I only smoked 1, but I do want to revisit and kind of see how these age. So it was kind of a unique. I don't know. It fits in that category of I don't want to say I didn't like it. I don't want to say I loved it, but I want to try it again kind of thing. Maybe we need to come up with a new rating of like revisit or try it again kind of thing. Because that's where this cigar fell for me. Mark Jr., back to you.
Well, you know what? I'll jump to the Falto I tried as well.
Yes.
I tried the Perla Petit Corona. And this is a 4x40 Petit Corona with a Brazilian wrapper, a Dominican binder, and a Dominican and Nicaraguan filler.
Yeah.
This is a much more reasonably priced cigar at like $5.50. But I'll talk to Falto for one more second. I do really like the concept that every size is its own individual blend.
Yeah, that's really cool, right?
Yeah.
It is very cool, and it's very unique in terms of the industry. And I like the ingenuity in the fact that they're blending to the size.
Absolutely.
And really paying attention to that because, as you know, and we all have said in the past, certain cigars will really excel in certain sizes, and I think that blend will lend itself to a size.
And they're not just changing the ratio; they're changing the different types of tobacco they're putting.
Well, yours was Cameroon wrapped, and mine's Brazilian wrapped.
Yeah,
yours
totally
mine's
different.
It's a completely different cigar.
Yep.
So that being said, this was an interesting cigar. It was rough looking. By the way of the seams weren't exactly perfect, and there was a bunch of veins on it, but it did smoke perfectly. It was a medium-bodied smoke, and it was nice and creamy. It also had some woody flavors. I think this is a solid 5er, being that it is reasonably priced. And hey, so I don't think we're too far off there, really.
Yeah, the intriguing thing about Falto for me is to try all the different sizes because they are a different blend, and kind of find the one that I like. And it's promising enough that the blenders are doing a great job
Enough to get your attention.
Enough to get your attention. So I think we're going to find ones that we really like.
Absolutely.
Paul, where are those cigars being made?
I'm not sure. I linked to the manufacturer's website.
Okay.
I'll double check on that, but I think it's Dominican. Let me
I think
just
their
double check.
factory is in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
Will, back to you. What else you been smoking?
I revisited the Ortega Cubao number 5. So for folks who've heard of Cubao, it's a blend that came out a few years ago. I believe it was 2008 under EO brands with Eric Espinosa and Eddie Ortega. When they dissolved the company, they split the brands up, and Eddie took back the Cubao. And he has re-released the Sumatra blend right now. The Maduro blend is on hold right now. That's the other one in the Cubao. Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, a binder and filler are Nicaraguan from Esteli and Jalapa. I smoked the 6x50 Toro. It's got a price point of $7.95. It's been a while since I've had the Cubao, so I didn't have a good baseline to go for. Excuse me. I always considered the Cubao a no-frills cigar. It was kind of not a flashy cigar, but it does a good job. It has a lot of pepper to it. There's some good chocolate notes, natural tobacco, nice little cherry sweetness I get from it. It has a little bit of that sweet spice, baker's spice. I like to use the term. Medium to full strains, medium to full bodied, I'd say. It's a good cigar. It's a fiver. It's not going to light the world on fire, but it's a nice cigar.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mr. Stogie. Oh, go ahead, Mark Jr.
How does it compare to the original Cubaos? Because I would agree with you that the original Cubaos were solid smokes, not earth-shattering.
But they were, for the price points on the Cubao, they were decent. They were decent. I agree with a fiver. But
one of the things that EO brands I thought did was very well was produce cigars in reasonable price points.
Exactly.
And I thought they did a great job with that. So.
Yeah. Like I said, the Cubao, the Sumatra, I hadn't. It's been a long time since I smoked it, so I didn't have a base on. But this was very good. This performed very well. It didn't seem inferior from the previous one, though, and it had that spice I remembered from the first Sumatra.
Mr. Stogie Santa, I want to talk about a Crowned Heads 4-Kick Sublime.
Here we go. What a
for those people listening out there, if you haven't visited our Stogies feed or visited our website to look at all the stuff we're smoking, if you go look at one friggin' cigar on there,
that's why I didn't post it on the internet.
Go look at the Crowned Heads Kick Sublime that I posted on Thursday.
That's a great photo.
Oh.
This Sublime, covered in plume. I posted 3 pictures of it. That's how well I wanted to document how much plume was on this cigar. And just to give you a little background that comes from the cigar-coop.com website, the 4Kick's name is taken from the song from the band Kings of Leon, a band from Huber's hometown in Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Song is a theme song of a rebellion in a way and fits the vision of Crowned Heads. CAO was acquired by General Cigars, and Huber and Company were caught in the corporate world of spreadsheets and PowerPoints. I feel it. Yeah, the venture of Crowned Heads was a rebellion in a sense against the corporate world, focusing on the cigars in a small environment. So Huber left CAO and started Crowned Heads, and this Crowned Heads 4-Kicks was blended by Ernesto Perez Carrillo Jr. So this is EPC's son. Mm-hmm. Funny story about this one. So it's a little background about the company, right? For reasons unknown, there was an entire box of these Sublimes. Habano Ecuadorian wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler. I don't have the size. What is the size of that?
That's 6x54.
6x54, yep. This entire box of Sublimes was covered in plume. Now, these only came out 2 years ago, right?
Yep.
And so maybe this box spent another maybe year in aging, roughly.
I mean,
maybe they're 3 years old.
Tops.
If it's the oldest one. But for whatever reason, they're completely covered in plume.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're at Mr. J. Havana Smoke Shop, and Mr. Joyle brings out, he says, I got to show you guys something. I'm standing there with one of our mutual friends who's a very much lover and enthusiast of cigars. And we've been known to be a little competitive about what we buy.
Oh, I love doing this.
Yeah, if there's some premium stuff in there, we're going to fight over it a little bit, but in a fun and spirited way. So Mr. Joy brings out the box and says, "Look at these things covered in plume." And we're talking about them, and we're drooling over them, and we're like, "How does this happen? I don't understand it." And my friend asks, he goes, "So how much does one of those boxes cost?" And like both of us are slowly reaching in our pockets to get out our credit cards, right? So we got like our credit cards in hand, and I'm like, "So we're gonna split this box?" Like, yeah, we're gonna split this box. I'm like, "Paul, we're gonna split this box. We're gonna split this box evenly. We're gonna buy this box right now." And we immediately started getting wrung out, and we were handing cigars to everyone. We made sure that Stogie Santa, had a couple. We made sure that Mr. Joyle had a couple of these very special cigars. They were completely covered in plume, which you don't see every day, right? So there was kind of a funny story that we purchased them on the spot. All Mr. Joyle did was take this box out, open up the top, and we're like, "Yep, we're buying them." It didn't matter how much. I mean, he could have charged us $15 a stick. It didn't matter.
And a little ad lib to this: the gentleman that was with you bidding on this, he comes in. His wife is pushing him a little bit, and he has to quit by September 6th. He goes, "What do I do?" He called up his wife and told him, "I'm quitting September 19th. I got to finish these cigars." And guess what?
He's not quitting now?
No. Oh, Stogie, Santa's got something special in the back. There's another box. Don't ever estimate the Santa. So we have one more of those. I went in the back because I put those. I have a propensity to hide things.
You do?
Yeah, just a little bit. We got to send something. We got to get some for Mark and for Will. I'll tell you what.
I have some for you guys. We should actually. The bottom line with this blend, not to give it all away, right? A lot of complexity. I mean, it wasn't the best cigar I ever smoked, right? Just because it's covered in plume doesn't mean it's the best cigar you ever smoked, right? But what really struck me as the thing that was different for me was the complexity in the subtle changes it made
and
throughout.
The strength that was still in there.
And the strength that was, I want to age some more, right? So I said the smoke was a real treat. The flavors weren't as smooth and balanced. Like you look at something that's covered in plume, you're like, "Oh my God, it's going to be so smooth and balanced." It wasn't as smooth and balanced as some other cigars that have been covered in plume that have, had the luxury of smoking. You get a lot of subtle. I got a lot of subtle citrus and sweetness, and it was subtle throughout. It made lots of changes, coupled with a nice amount of spice that was still there, so it was not aged out.
Even on the retrohale, I picked up even more.
Oh, it was pretty cool. I'm always inclined to let these age for and smoke one every maybe 3 months, 6 months,
have some fun
and see
with
how
that.
they progress. Definitely, and I have some. I'll share. I think we should do it as a cigar on the show and really pay attention kind of as we smoke and take more breaks to talk about the flavors we're getting because it's a very like fine wine or anything
it was so funny. I
involves your senses like that. It'll really kind of test you to pick out all those subtle flavors.
When we first brought them in, they weren't that balanced. They really weren't.
No, they were
Remember
not.
That?
Yeah, there was actually a little bit of like a mineral petrol kind of like
That's
a youngness
what I remember
to it.
from it. Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
this did not have any of that.
No,
but it's going to be interesting how these things age. Even more. So I'm saying split a box with a friend because I think, like you said, it's a fun thing to smoke one of these every once in a while. It's a novelty kind of thing. Yeah.
And really enjoy it.
Yeah. It's not an oasis smoke.
No.
Right?
It's
because,
not even
when you age a cigar,
split a box is perfect.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Sorry, that was a kind of a long one. But Mark Jr., back to you.
All right. My next smoke is the Partagas Benjamin Menendez Master Series Mastroso re-release. Now, for those of you who listened last week, Paul smoked this on the show last week. It's a 6x46 Grand Corona with a Cameroon wrapper, a Connecticut binder, and Dominican and Nicaraguan filler. I'm going to go back, just take one step back. And one of the first times I ever walked into Mr. J's, I always like to call him Dr. J for whatever reason. Yeah. Is when the second release of these came out. And Stogie Santa said, "You really got to try one of these." And I'm like, "Really? It's, like the non-Cuban Partagas. No way it's going to be that good." And anyway, they're very good. since then, Tim actually gave me my first one of the first releases of this size. And it's always stuck out in my head as a memorable smoke. It was always very good. Now, that being said, I was very excited to try the new ones when they came out. And when they showed up, I jumped right on them. So I will say, I found this stick to be pretty consistent with the prior release. It had a typical Cameroon sweetness, mixed with some cedar flavors and some toasty notes. The only difference I really experienced between this one and the last one is this one had a little bit more kick to it.
I remember.
Spot on, Mark Jr.
That's what I
yeah.
think. Yep.
It has a slight bit more strength that I don't remember from the first edition. So it actually made it a little bit more interesting to me in that sense. It's this is a solid box split, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
How expensive are these, Mark? I forget.
Those are $8.50 to $9. Yep.
So yeah, hey,
I mean that's at the Rhode Island price. So
my quick assessment of this blend is that when they first came into the shop, the original release, they were good. Maybe 3 to 6 months after they first came in, they reached their peak and they were just freaking awesome. And I think you sold out like 6 months after they were released. The second release was really good. I don't think it lived up to the first release as much. The flavors were a little more muted in that Toro size they released. This one was very, very good on the initial release. And I'm almost thinking that maybe 3 to 6 months it's going to come into its own. Now, what's interesting is, I think, Mark Jr., you and I smoked one of the original releases, a couple of years after it had been released, and it wasn't that great. Like, it's one of the things that I wanted to kind of focus on in this segment is aging, right? We talked about ones with plume, we talked about new, and when cigars kind of come into their own. And I almost want to incorporate that into some of our ratings, right? And I think that this cigar is going to come into its own in 3 to 6 months. Now, this is like a gamble, right? I mean, it's like playing the lottery. How do you know when cigar is going to be at its best? You don't know. You got to just smoke it and see. But once you've smoked enough of them and you can kind of get a grasp on the flavors and the progression, this one I think is going to be good 3 to 6 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully not drop off like the previous one did.
Correct.
So cigars definitely have a peak.
And that little bit,
life.
little bit of strength might add to a little bit of an extra aging potential. So
yeah, I agree with your assessment on the strength.
Absolutely.
Will, back to you.
Okay, I smoked the new Camacho Criollo Toro. This is one of the this is part of the Camacho relaunch. So there have been Camacho's trimmed their line to 6 blends, and 4 of the blends have actually been reblended. And the old Camacho Habana has now been reblended and rebranded as the Honduran Criollo. They changed the priming of the wrapper to a 4th priming Criollo 98 wrapper. They're using the
now, Will, that went from a 3rd priming to a 4th priming.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yes. Thanks for that clarification. And I just want to say for the blend information, I want to just give a thanks to Dylan Austin of Camacho Cigars. He actually, Cigar Coop was the first place to have all the blend information and all the vitolas anywhere.
And that's where I read it, and it was very detailed. That's why it sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, thanks.
That's great.
Yeah, so Dylan's a real good supporter of us, and so I wanted to thank him because we had a great opportunity with that.
Now, Camacho now is owned by someone? Or
Davidoff,
right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, so, they got... Like when a big company acquires another company, they have to go through storm norm, perform. So they had to go through an assimilation process, and this is really their first big splash since that acquisition in 2009 with this bold standard relaunch.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got a text from Mr. Drew.
Oh yeah, Mr. Drew likes to.
He is
interject.
Oh, he is something. He's special.
We gotta get him on the show.
I am.
We got to get him on. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, what's
we gotta get him
happening?
on.
A shout out to Steve. His wife is due tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And I am so excited for him. And I mentioned that to him. We're going to have him on the show, but his cigar, and I'm not going to speak a lot of it until we have him on the show. So anyway, Steve, love you to death. I'm sorry. Something I revisited, and it's one of my favorite smokes, believe it or not, is the Illusion 88. And this had about a year and a half age on that. It's a 5x54 Nicaraguan Puro. Phenomenal cigar. I sent one to. I think I gave one to you, Unbanded. And Mark, I gave you one, didn't I, Mark Jr.? Is Mark Jr.?
I'm not sure.
You definitely gave one to me, and I definitely really liked it a
Oh,
lot.
I'm going to tell you something. That cigar.
No, you did. You did. You did.
Yeah,
you did.
whatever. I love it. I love that earthy.
That's another one with the aging.
Oh, the potential.
It's like a bell curve with aging.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's reaching its peak on that bell curve.
It is at the prime now.
That's like a Robusto, right?
Yeah, 5x52.
Yeah.
And it's just special. Right down to the end. Nice earthy flavors and an enjoyable smoke. It's something that if you want to get into the Lugione and really enjoy something, it's funny. It's a
Lugione 88 Robusto size.
Oh, 88. Well, have you ever tried that?
Yeah. Yep. The 88. That's the Robusto.
Right.
Good cigar.
Oh, it really is. The other one.
I'm sorry. Hold on. We'll come back to you, Stogie Santa. We got sidetracked from the Camacho.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. We're all. I was like on like I didn't know what Will was going to say about this Camacho.
And I interrupted.
No. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. We can still keep the. We still got the flow. I was kind of like on the edge of my seat with what your assessment is going to be of this new Camacho blend. Because the Havana is a very well-respected blend, and I liked a lot of the stuff coming from the traditional Camacho. So, Will, what's the new blend profile we talked about a little bit, right? A fourth priming. Makes me concerned that they went from a third priming to a fourth priming, but what's your assessment?
Well, yeah, and they also added Piloto Cabano into the filler, Dominican. So that's something new. There was no Dominican in there. And, there was a Corojo binder and it's Honduran Criollo in the filler as well. So I smoked the Toro. This is, I'm going to call it, this is the sleeper of the new blends.
Really?
This one really surprised me. It has earth, pepper, and chocolate flavors to it, but here's the kicker. There's this honey sweetness that comes off this cigar. It's not an ultra sweet honey, but it's kind of that raw honey. It's subtle at the beginning. It kind of builds up a little more as the cigar goes on. It kind of just gives this cigar its own identity, and it's this flavors. They also start out medium bodied, and they really progress nicely to full bodied in the second half. Medium strength in the first half, medium to full strength in the second half. The only drawback, the burn just could have been better. It required a lot of touch-ups. I smoked several of these, and it was very prone to flaking. That was the only drawback. But the performance of the flavors was excellent. It was easily worth a box split in my book. I think this is the sleeper of the new blends they have out.
I was actually surprised as the higher rating you gave this, Will.
I probably would. If I didn't have the burn issue, I would have gone for a box. I really enjoyed this cigar.
Yeah.
Now, you say the burn issue, and would you find that because was it right off the truck? Was it humidified correct? Do you think it was more of a construction issue or a humidification issue or transit issue? What do you think, Will?
No, I don't. Here's the thing. I went to two different shops and had it.
All right,
which is what I'll do at times.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So I'm a little, that's the only thing. Now, was it a horrible burn? No, it was a burn that required a little more work, and it didn't. Well, it didn't canoe and it didn't tunnel. It just is one of those. I had to keep touching it up, and it flaked quite a bit.
I can't deal with that. I really can't.
So that's the only thing that was the drawback on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to try some more of these new Camacho blends.
I think this is the sleeper. I really do. I think this one. I really like this one.
I'm going to try this one for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's $6. That's a really good price.
$6, yeah.
I mean, how can
the packaging is actually really nice in person. When you see that packaging in person, it really stands out.
The new bands really do stand out. I think they actually did a nice job. With the
Johan,
new bands.
our representative, was just saying that. He said this about 8 months ago. He kept saying, wait, what we're going to be coming out with. And so it sounds like they did their job.
Absolutely. I smoked in, I think Will or Mark Jr., one of you guys smoked the EP Carrillo Edition Limitada 2012.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Will.
So I'll piggyback after you're done.
So this is the fourth entry and what has become an annual limited edition from EPC. This Limitada series has been released every year since 2009, of course. The blend changes from year to year. For 2012, it marks the first time this blend has used a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. There's great cigars coming on EPC, as we've mentioned in the past. Probably one of our favorite all around, the ones that we all like, multiple blends coming from one manufacturer, probably the most liked out of all the Stogie Geeks crew. 1,500 boxes of 10 were produced. For really the most part, this is a true limited, right? They're produced and then they're gone.
They're gone, like Encantos.
Yeah, well, the Alancos, right, was supposedly based on the Edition Limitada
2010.
2010.
Well,
but, yeah.
whatever. That's another story.
So again, this is a Connecticut broadleaf Ascoro Maduro. This is an Ecuadorian.
Wait a minute, say that again.
Ascoro Maduro.
Hey, you're make me feel hard here.
If I have the right amount of scotch, I can pronounce things. The binder is an Ecuadorian Sumatra. The filler is Nicaraguan Jalapa Corojo and Esteli Criollo. This is a 6.5 by 56 Gordo. This cigar was still a touch on the young side. I remember when these first came in, they were
terrible, spongy.
I would call them soggy, almost soggy, right?
Part of the
but you know, stuff coming from EPC is going to come into its own. And I tell you what, there was 6 months.
Yep.
After it was released.
9
months.
Well, the ones that you smoked.
Yeah. This cigar is pretty awesome. It's still balanced, even though the flavors aren't fully developed. Like, you could almost use a little more age. This blend is really awesome. Like, they did a great job. You can separate the aging from the blending, right? They did a fantastic job with the blending. I got a nice coffee with a touch of chocolate coupled with sweetness and a rich and creamy body. Nice change up from the first third all the way to the final third. This stick has huge aging potential. Buy a box now, because I'm telling you what, my prediction, this one's going to be Oasis level in the future. So, this is box worthy now, my
they're hidden.
Box worthy.
They're hidden.
I'm going to jump in here for a second. I had talked to Stogie Santa one day while I was in the shop, and I was like, dude, I really want to try one of them again. And I tried it, and it was awesome. And then I talked to Paul about it, and then I think the next time the two of us were in the shop together, we
all
both
of us got a box.
Right.
Remember I said try this. I said it has changed dramatically. Mark Jr. says, "Oh yeah," and he looked at it, and he's like that. And what was that? 2 days later, Mark? You guys in the back of the humidor, boom, boom, boom.
This is how much I put faith in Stogie Santa, Mark Jr., and Will, right, and Tim, and everyone in the Stogie Geeks, is that if you guys are going to buy a box of something, I'm either going to split it with you if you're willing, or I'm going to buy my own box. That's how much I trust your palates. I hadn't even smoked this cigar. Mark Jr. on the back, and he's like, I'll take a box of those 2012 Limitadas. I'm like, grab one for me, too, because I'm buying one, too. And these are, what's the price point on these?
Those are about $10.
These are $10 bucks? Yeah.
$10, $11.
Yeah.
Providing 100 tax.
Right.
You gotta,
100 and change for a box. It's a no-brainer. I'm like, give me a box. And I had one that I bought when it first came in that I hadn't smoked yet because it was still kind of spongy.
Oh, it was terrible in the beginning.
And so I haven't cracked into my box yet. I smoked the one that was loose.
And not to belittle the point, Connecticut broadleaf, they're using a lot more water to make that. To roll it, it's just a lot. It is what it is. When it first come in, and I think Will and I hit off on the same thing when the Sumatra came in on, what's the, Will, help me out.
The short run.
No, that's a short
run.
No,
I'm sorry. The
Cardinal?
The Cardinal.
The Cardinal.
Yeah. Cardinals.
Yeah.
Same thing. I said the Connecticut everyone was going crazy with the Sumatra. Give that time. So anyway, let's move on.
So Will, just really quick, what's your assessment of this cigar?
My experience with it was positive when I first had it out, but I did dry box it for a few days before I smoked it. It definitely has gotten better, and it much like you, I got the coffee, the cocoa notes. I got some pepper spice. It was a nice creamy undertone I got from it.
Yeah.
It came down a bit in terms of the strength came down a bit, and some of the flavors mellowed a bit, and I'd say more into a medium to full. It really has come into its own. I'm not sure if it's going to go to Oasis level, but it's box worthy in my book.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say whether it will or not.
Yeah, box of 10, you can't go wrong.
Right,
at that price
exactly.
Point.
And to stay on that EPC kick, I'm sorry to do this. I know my fellow Stogie geek here, Mark Jr., we're all over it, is the Short Run Robusto 2013.
Oh, God.
I'm going to tell
awesome
you,
right
if this doesn't make the top 10 of the Cigar of the Year,
really,
I'll be it's on my list. It's just getting better and
Whose
better.
list? Whose list are you talking about?
Mine.
Okay.
I just think it's a phenomenal smoke.
It's in my top 10 right now.
You got more
I'll
boxes of those coming in?
I just ordered more, and to get some more, it's been difficult. So because I have a little connections here and here, I got them in, and they're just. I did the double Robusto, and it's just not the same cigar. It just truly isn't. Doesn't deliver the flavors.
Neither is the Corona Gorda. I really think the
agree.
Robusto is the one that
Oh,
made it on this one.
I have to
can't
say, I
agree
don't think
more.
there's a short run Robusto that's not at least almost box worthy.
I
Almost
think
all of them are box
they're
worthy.
bo- I don't
Yeah.
know if they'll ever get.
I have a box of each one of them.
That
So there you
middle
go.
size. You guys are referring to the middle size, right?
Of the 2013,
Yeah.
Yeah. They call it a Robusto, but it's really more Toro size.
Nah,
You're talking the small one?
Yeah, the small one, not the.
Okay,
no,
it's like
yeah.
that 4 and it's a little
like-
under 5 inches.
Yeah, 5 and
Okay,
52.
yeah, okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Not the. I know what you're talking about. Well, it's just. I don't know. I just when it first came in, it always happens with EPC on the short runs.
It
I
does.
say,
Yeah, the short ones
they
come in young. Yeah.
It reminds me because Will did a great. I mean, dead on assessment with the East Stunner. That's going to be another one. At the show, as like I was with Edgar, the rep, and even with Ernesto, raving about. I smoked a cigar and it was okay, and then Will put up an assessment after that. There's another one that's just going to be another
No,
cigar
I read-
I'm going to enjoy immensely.
I read a not so great review of the E Stunner. I found it to be a little young. I thought it had potential. Will, what was your assessment of the E Stunner?
Oh, it came into it was about 6 weeks of age on that thing, and it just came into its own. It's got loads of complexity, and I saw the not so great review, and I'm going to consider the source is all I'm going to say. But I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm not even going to
It-
mention the
Yeah.
source in that case.
Right,
It's
right.
not worth
That's
it.
true.
But I honestly think that's a cigar that just needs to sit for, and I'm hoping that when they hit the shelves, they have sat. I'm a little worried it's going to hit the shelves like it had hit the show, and that's my only fear.
Yeah.
But I've smoked a few of them now, and they are. There's a lot of nuances to that cigar. It's just got to tame down a bit with some age.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Alrighty. Mark Jr., got any more on your list over there?
Sure do. So my next smoke is that Dominican Puro, the second Dominican Puro that I alluded to. It's the Aging Room M21 Fortissimo. It's a 5 3/4 by 47 Perfecto Dominican Puro, $12 a piece.
Yes.
Does that sound about right?
That's correct.
I've made it abundantly clear that I think what Boutique Blends is doing with the Aging Room line so far has been pretty fantastic. And that goes for all of them. The M356, now the Maduro, the Quattro last year,
Yep.
and now this
the
one.
box press.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should come as no shock that I was very excited when the cigar was announced. And Stogies Santa was generous enough to indulge me with his IPCPR sample of this cigar, and I smoked it on the show, the first one after you came back. I think this cigar is pretty remarkable, as a matter of fact, especially since it's a Dominican Puro.
Yep.
It's another one that's not your father's Dominican Puro.
Yeah, that's what I smoked last week.
Yeah. Not an ounce of that, not even a touch of that grassiness that you would expect from a Dominican Puro.
No.
It's full-bodied with plenty of strength and flavor. The woody notes, pepper, and a hint of leather. I thought made the cigar very memorable, in my opinion. And seeing that there's only 3,000 boxes of 10, I will definitely be getting a box.
Mark Jr., how was the burn I had? I smoked it on the show. That burn was phenomenal on that cigar.
Yeah, it was. It was impeccable, and so is the sample. So I've now smoked 2 of them. They were both identical in terms of strength, flavor, and construction. So,
And you bring a good point up about how it burnt. Now, just to give you an idea, I was at the show, got the sample, and the sample wasn't. I just knew that cigar had a lot of potential. I did the first sample, and the burn, was absolutely horrible. The
Really?
Cigar, but it's nature. It's
Yeah.
human hands are touching that all the time. So that's why I can't say enough to people out there. If it's a phenomenal cigar or a bad cigar, you need to smoke just more than one. You're really of anybody's cigar. And when I got I brought back 3 samples, and at that one was when I did the second and third, I knew that's what that cigar was all about. And that's a beautiful looking stick too. gorgeous looking, sexy looking stick.
It really, the packaging is phenomenal as
Isn't
well.
it? We got 15 boxes of those. So
Nice.
Yeah, that packaging's cool too. But it was the packaging that they did on the sample was cool too. I have it here. So it came with its own coffin, and it was it even says right on it IPCPR 2013.
Yeah.
So I kind of held on to this coffin. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah. I believe I guess I could say this, Paul. I believe we have Raphael teed up in November.
Yeah, if you saw that, that means he's definitely teed up.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Yeah.
So Raphael Nodal, the president of the company, who is a really, really great guy in the industry. I'm so glad for him that he's having success.
We've been
now.
a big fan of the aging room blends. So
yeah.
Stogie Santa, what else you been smoking? Did you have something else that you were kind of segueing into something earlier?
Well, I was I guess the thunder we stole was on EPC. It was that right now is just something I'm smoking on a regular basis, and like I said, we have Steve Drew. I want to bring on about his blend. I don't want to touch that for another show, but the EPC short run, I'm on a kick. I'm on a roll. Just that's what I was segmenting into at the beginning of the show. But back to you, Will.
All right, so this is my smoke of the week. It is the Don Pepin Garcia 10th Anniversary Limited Edition 2013. This is a special cigar. It's using an Ecuadorian Habano seed wrapper from 2009. It's absolutely exquisite. Nicaraguan binder and filler. It's a 6.5 by 52 Toro, which is this typical size they've used on all of my Paulo limited editions and Jaime Garcia limited edition. Hefty price point, $21.95. It comes in a coffin box. It's going to come in a very exquisite lacquer box as well. This cigar lives up to. This was my most anticipated cigar I was going to smoke this year. It did not disappoint me. It just lived up to everything. Cocoa. It had some nut. It had a grass note, which I thought was interesting too. This is a cigar you want to absolutely retrohale, and when you retrohale, you're going to get some of that cocoa, but you're also going to get this herbal spice in there. It was not an overpowering cigar. It was almost atypical of a Pepin cigar. It's kind of it just didn't. It smoked different than Pepin's normal cigars. Medium to full bodied. Strength is medium, going to medium to full. I loved it. It's Oasis contender. I've had only a couple, so I don't think it's fair yet to say it's Oasis, but it's already in the Fight Chuck Norris category.
Wow.
Yeah,
what was your assessment of this cigar, Stogie Santa?
Will and I always probably predominantly on the same page. This one, I wasn't as enthusiastic as Will. I thought it was good.
I saw your face while you were smoking this one. You smoked on the show. You didn't seem too overly excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. Some of his limited stuff, I'm not he does a great job. I mean, Pepin, who am I? But I just found that cigar was just. I didn't get all that nuances that Will got. I got to revisit it. The one I got from the show was okay.
Okay, so I didn't have one from the show. These were bought right off the shelf here.
Mm-hmm. And they've done very well. But like Will was saying, again, you hate to throw price in there, but that $21.95, it's a difficult sell. It's not. I'll rephrase that. I shouldn't say difficult sell. It's a different market. I'd rather put it like that. I found it. I didn't find it as complex as Will did. We got some more. I'm going to revisit it. I just don't want to. I don't want to sit here and say it's not a good cigar. I got to revisit it because again, I don't want. I want to go back to what I said before. I've only smoked one, and it didn't leave me.
Yeah.
I bought differently because of what I smoked at the show.
Did you smoke the original My Father Limited Edition 2010?
That was the best one by far.
I wasn't wowed with it when it came out, but. The way that thing aged, same with the 2011, when those two both aged, they came into their own.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And I can't agree with you more. The 2010, what happened was the same thing. It started off slow, and then a year later, I mean, people were just in groves. I blew out a
You know
lot
what I
of
find
boxes.
interesting about the cigars that are priced $15 and above, all the way up to $30, is that in talking to retailers, they'll say, well, I go through quite a bit of stock of this one because you may get the guy that comes in and they're buying, a box of this to regular smoke in the regular rotation, right? And their regular rotation may fluctuate, but a lot of the cigar enthusiasts, including the people that maybe smoke only one or two different brands, maybe just one, right, will buy that $15 to $30 cigar for special occasions. And you'll go through quite a bit. If it's a really good one,
Yeah,
right?
oh, yeah.
If it lives up to that price tag, you'll go through a ton of them. And the profit margin for the local shop is great. And the consumer, you go buy a $30 cigar, smoke it on a special occasion, you feel like you're getting a lot of value from that as well. So I think it's kind of interesting how those higher price tag cigars have a tendency to move a lot, and you may have a $6 or $7 or $8 cigar that may sit there forever because no one's really including in their rotation. But hey, I go spend $30 on a cigar and I'm really blown away. Padron's a prime example, right? And those are the ones that are moving in and out of the shop,
and
which is
that's
great.
why you see, like I mentioned this about 2-3 years. Well, a good 2 years ago on a show, I brought that up to even some manufacturers. If you look at all your limited cigars in the $15 to $20 range, what do you see? 10 count boxes.
Yep.
That's what it is. And another thing was funny. You said that if you, I don't know if Wolf, if this caught your eye at the show. I thought one of the biggest things that I brought back was that all manufacturers. I think the one that does it the best way is Padron, and I think people are. I think they caught on. Is this when they release 5, 6, 7, 8 different blends? They take away from the core line.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. Did you notice this year? More than any year I saw at the IPCR, is that you've seen the cutback on new releases. Like you see 1 or 2, 3 like that. And I think it's a smart move because sometimes it's like, what are you doing for me lately? And you go here and you're going farther out, and they forget about their call line and what they're doing. And look at Padron. Padron, everyone knows what they want to do. It's 1, 2. I mean, they're going to come up. They're coming up with it. The new limited. It's going to be next year. So. I think you're going to see a changes in the industry where you won't see that 4 or 5, 6 different lines of re-releases of that particular blend.
I smoked a La Palina Classic Short Robusto, which is features a Brazilian Habano seed wrapper, an Ecuadorian binder, a Dominican and Nicaraguan filler. It's I smoked the Short Robusto, which is a 4.5 by 58. Cigar Coop has a full review on that. Yeah, so it's a pretty large ring gauge cigar, right? It's approaching that 60 ring. The smoke was full flavor and had an awesome sweetness. I mean, the first 2/3 were really good, had a nice balance, good amount of strength and body. I can see lighting this up after breakfast with a cup of coffee is a great time to smoke this cigar. It had a good amount of strength, not mild enough to maybe smoke first thing in the morning, but certainly any other time of day. The final third for me was kind of harsh, and I hate to say it, but pulled the Davidoff on me.
Really?
The final third was just not good. I think maybe age would solve this problem. I didn't give it a rating because I kind of had that off experience with the final third. But I said the first 2/3 were awesome. That sweetness was great. And you smoked this same size?
Remember that? I come back kind of. That's the one. That's why I was kind of impressed with it. Me too.
I know they make this in the Lancero too, which is very good.
Yeah, the Lancero was good, but I like
I like this size better.
Yeah, me too. And we go back to agent potential on this. What do you think, Will?
Definitely.
Oh, I think this is a hidden little gem.
I agree.
In my book, I really think it's a special cigar.
And I backed off on it. I thought maybe it was getting hot, but in a large ring gauge, the final third for me just didn't do it for me.
Again. This is why you got to revisit. That's the fun thing about cigars.
Smoke it in the regular Robusto.
Okay.
I liked it in the regular Robusto actually a lot with a little smaller ring gauge, even though it worked very well in that 58.
Yeah.
And I did the Corona size too, and it was okay.
Yep.
It was all right.
So find your size in this blend and try a few.
And that's what go back to what iconic cigars saying. Different sizes.
That La Palina Classic has some great things going for it in that
really,
blend. I think they did a nice job with that
blend. I agree.
Yeah.
And they reduced some of the prices to help things out, too.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mark Jr., did you have any more smokes on your list?
I actually have a couple more.
Go for it.
I got to do a couple more.
I have...
yeah, I got to have some more scotch.
I have 3 more, actually. So if I need to catch up, then do a couple in a row. I will.
Do it. Go ahead.
I have the Tatuaje 10th Anniversary Noea. It's a redo. This is the wet pack Coronas at 5.12 by 42. It's a Nicaraguan Criollo 98 wrapper, binder fill Nicaraguan, about $7 a piece. Quickly, I'll make this one quick. I'll just say that if you didn't buy a box, buy one. And if you did buy one, buy another one.
So I think you like it. It's safe to say.
Yeah. And it's really amazing what a few months can do to this cigar because right away it wasn't this great. I will say that. This was a milk chocolate bomb. Like I talked to Paul about this when we had lunch together the other day. It was almost like the chocolate taste you would get off of like a Kit Kat bar. It was ridiculously good. And that's really come to the forefront with a couple months of age. This is a fight Chuck Norris style cigar. And totally stoked that I bought a box. And yeah, so.
You know, it's another one you're going to try in that line, too. I don't know if you did it, Will or Paul. Is a Cazadores on that? Oh, that's a special. I love that cigar. It's really special. Those two stick out to me out of the whole line.
Yeah. No, I don't know what wet packing does to cigars, but I'll tell you what, this is not your average Noea either, for that matter. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yep. You know it's a cigar that just gets better and better. I don't mean to sneak in on this. Is the Cane F Lancero.
I've not had that.
Oh well, we're gonna. They're hard to get. We're gonna take care of that for you.
No, I got some.
Coop, wait. Coop hasn't tried a cigar. What the hell is going on?
We found one that Coop hasn't had. We got plenty of them.
That's probably like 1 out of 1,000,000 that he has. This cigar, Coop, you're gonna enjoy, and I'll throw a.
You know, we haven't had that in a while. I bet it's smoking really good right now.
Maybe you haven't.
I have one of the sample sets from Oliva that had the Cane F Daytona, the Cane F Lancero, and the Culebra.
Yeah, I got that at home, right? And what I'm trying to say, the Daytona is a good smoke, a solid smoke. This Cane is aging. The best cigar they put out by far. Hands down, there's nothing even close in that line. Milano, Master Blend, whatever. I don't know. Mark, how do you feel about that?
I'll say this, that I've probably smoked 3 or 4 boxes worth of those to date. And if I come across another box, I'll buy another box. It's that simple.
Come see me.
I have a box that I haven't broken into back here because it's aging, and I've been smoking what you have at the shop. So,
I think Will will love this. I just know. That's going to be the general consensus on this.
It's one of my favorite Lanceros of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Jr., what else you got on your list?
I smoked a Viaje Holiday Blend 2011 Petit Robusto. It's a 4 1/4 by 54 Nicaraguan Criollo 98 wrapper, binder and filler Nicaraguan. I got these for an amazing deal last fall, and I really like this stick a lot. Still has tons of spice and depth. I love the earthy flavors. That mixed with the pepper and spice that I already mentioned. Woody notes come and go. I wish some of these were still around. I would definitely buy more, and I would list these as box worthy.
Wow. Coop, we were talking, I think, the last show, or I don't know when we were talking about it. The Roma Craft. I finally got him into the show, the shop. It took a little arm twisting, but we did what we did. I know you like the Intemperance blend, and I can understand why. Did you try the Ecuadorian cigar that they have?
Yeah, I believe we did mention it. And that's the Aquitaine, and actually...
No, not the Aquitaine.
Oh, the Connecticut.
Yeah.
The Connecticut. I have not tried that one, and I have one.
I'm going to tell you something. Right now, a $5. It's got a nice, the Dominican flavor on that. You know, Dominicans, it's probably the most versatile cigar. Their flavors, you can go from strong to knock your socks off, and the grassy flavor of the hints on this it caught me. I'm not saying it's as good as the other blends. You know what I mean? But I may bring that in. I was surprised. with that cigar. Yes, the price point was great.
Which one is that?
It's an Intemperance.
EC.
Thank you. EC. Thank you. I thought it was a really a $5. That's what I'll say. I don't see it going any farther than that. It's incredible, and they did. And the other one we brought one in just for a show and tell, the Femur. That huge. It's like a 2.5-pound cigar. It's more like
you guys really got one.
Yeah. Yeah, which it's going to be a show and tell. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's all. Just to have some yucks with it. But I'm still not overly convinced at this point. But I had a hard. Paul didn't like it at all. I liked it. We'll see. We're going to revisit that. The whole line, the Accutane I thought was the best of that line. The whole line, my humble opinion. Anyway.
Will, you got some more smokes on your list?
Yeah, I'm gonna mention one, but I'm not gonna talk about it because Barry Stein's gonna be on the show next week, and I want to give him the kudos. But I did smoke Barry Stein's Kilo. He gave me one at the Chattanooga Tweet Up, and it was very good. So I want to kind of save the story for next week on that, and really have Barry tell it in his own words. And Barry's just been a guy who, when I started out, really helped me out and got me on the right track. So. And he got a chance to blend his first cigar. So I'll save that one for next week.
Excellent.
And then I have one more. We can either do it now or go around.
So I'll do one and I'll pass it back to you. I did a Room 101 limited LTD Conjura. I don't know if this is limited.
Wow, it's
It's got some age on it, right? It's a Honduran Rosado wrapper. The binder is from Honduras, and the filler is Dominican Nicaraguan. You can find these. The MSRP is around $7. However, if you can find them on a price point for $4 a stick, but that's if you pay for a membership, right? We all know who I'm talking about there. So membership pricing is different, obviously. It's not the actual price of the cigar because they take into account the membership. Membership price of $4, around $7. In any case, I think that's a good price point for this cigar, between $4 and $7. $4 for sure, right? This was released at the 2009 IPCPR show from Matt Booth. You can read all about it on the full review from Cigar Coop. Upon initial lighting, I got a lot of earth flavor. The smoke was very creamy. Some hints of coffee kind of came and went. The draw and burn and construction were great. I enjoyed the smoke. For me, it didn't have enough character and flavor to really keep me interested the entire time. It just really wasn't my flavor profile. However, if you like that really Honduran kind of earthy flavor with a little bit of splash of coffee, which was a nice kind of a change up to get out of that particular tobacco. It presents a very smooth, balanced profile. I say grab 5, especially if you can get them at a good discount. For aging potential, I'd say they're probably at their prime right now. I'm saying $5 to have something different in your rotation. I thought it was a good smoke. Do you guys remember this smoke? Did you smoke it when it first came out? What did you guys think? Have you smoked one recently?
No.
The funny thing is, and Matt's another guy. When I started out, he was the first manufacturer to kind of really just kind of help me out. And he's unhappy with that cigar in his first release. Well, he's kind of written off the Conjura as well as the first Room 101. So it's and he's we have to try to get him on the show. He's very candid about that. He just felt that he felt he was getting the wrong advice early on, and he really wasn't blending the cigars that he wanted that really represented him. So he got off to a rocky start with those first 2 blends, and that was the second blend.
To say the least.
Yeah.
I tell you what, after the amount of age it has on it, it's pretty good. Like I said, if you can find them, grab a $5 because it's a pretty good cigar. How's everyone's cigar doing?
I finished mine. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I like that Oro double.
Oh, it's very good. It's a good cigar.
Well, I'm curious, how was your Satori Zen?
Still going really good. It's getting a little more earthy as it's hitting the last third here, but really smoking well. Everyone we hear the complaints about Viaje burns and Viaje ashes being gray, but this is performing very well here.
Mine performed very well.
This is 3 years aged almost. Yeah. I got these in 2010, so they've been sitting in my humidor a while.
I'd say they're at their prime now. I tell you what, the flavor profile on this one is fantastic. I'm enjoying this
everyone loved the
tremendously.
Zen. That was the one I liked in the original, the Karma.
I like the Karma and I like the Zen. I like the Karma a little more, but I tell you what,
the Karma's the Robusto, and I agree.
Go back and smoke the Zen now, though. I'm telling you, it's a close tie. It really aged well.
This was almost my cigar of the year in 2010. It came very close. Yeah. I loved it when it came out. I'm a huge fan of this Satori.
It's hard to find the Zen size now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with it. Will, back to you. What else you been smoking?
So I smoked the factory press limitado, the new 2013 version, and this is, I guess, the second cigar that's being called a factory press limitado. There was one in 2007 with a broadleaf wrapper. This one had a Sumatra wrapper, a Nicaraguan binder, Dominican filler. It's a 6.25 by 60 box press. It's not quite as sharp as the factory press 4s in terms of that box press, but it's still a very firm box press. Overall, it wasn't. Look, it was a good cigar. I liked it. Was it the best La Florida came out? No. Was it the worst one? No. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. Natural tobacco. It had a nice hickory smokiness to it, but not kind of a fire-cured smokiness, but kind of a little more, maybe a little more of a mesquite, but not overly that campfire hickory, if you may. It had a little bit of lemon sweetness on it. I think this cigar's got some potential down the road too. It may develop some more over time. I had it as a 5er, and I'm kind of looking at that as banking on. It's a good investment to have some of these, and I'm kind of gonna play the market, so to speak, and put 5 of these away and see how they smoke later on.
Did you find the second half of that cigar fell apart?
In terms of construction or flavor?
Flavor.
Not terribly, but I thought the first half was better.
Right. That's
right.
Yeah. I just when I got into the second half of that cigar, it completely. Like I said, I think it's a great assessment. I think down the road there's a possibility. I'll bank on that. That's a great way to put it, Coop. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's there's some La Floras that have come out that the Chapter 1 was much more enjoyable as far as this year's releases. I love the Oro Maduro from last year, and I love the Limitado 5 from last year. This wasn't quite up there with them, but like I said, it's worth an investment, I think.
Has anyone go back and smoked like a factory press 3?
Sure have.
If I can get them, can you get them?
That's just smoking good now, I bet,
yes,
right?
They are.
Yeah. Coop, you can get them right there.
Yes. And there's another one, Coop, I'll send down to you. Mark and I have a box on the back, the Limitado 3s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. How's this? We pulled the old switcheroozy on Paul.
They did. They unbanded it.
Wow. Huh?
They got me good on that one.
Oh, I'm telling you, that is smoking really good.
Really good cigar.
You guys say that's an Oasis cigar?
No.
No.
Nope.
But close, right?
Close. Oh, yeah.
I mean, what do you pay for those
cigars?
Cigar. Are they? I mean, they're not outrageously expensive.
They're under $10.
Yeah, for under $10, that's extremely good value.
Yeah, it really is. Because
the last one I had on my list here is a C&C Connecticut Churchill. C&C is it's a value price cigar. It's a mild cigar, Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper.
They're not even in the market anymore.
Dominican Republic, so they're not making these anymore. I tell you what, though, you can
buy at the show. They were at the show.
You can buy a box for
C&C, Mike.
Not Cusano. Well, it's the Cusanos, but this is their new company they launched because they just released the Loose Cannons earlier this year.
So this was a Cusano?
No.
No, this was manufactured by Cusano co-creator Joe Chusano.
Yeah, right. That's different from. All right, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay.
My bad.
So this is a mild cigar. You smoke this first thing in the morning with coffee. Very, very mild profile. What's interesting is Cigar Aficionado gave this a 90 rating. A Churchill cigar that costs less than $5 a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you should have some of these in your humidor, in my opinion.
Sure, it's a good. It's very good.
Yeah, at $4 a stick, it was really, really good. Even taking price off the table, it was a good cigar. It opened up with a nice tobacco flavor, some mild sweetness that persisted throughout. Very, very mild, like I said. But enough flavor to hold my attention throughout while I smoked it first thing in the morning with coffee. I wouldn't really smoke it at any other time. It was smooth and creamy as I would have liked. And, for that Dominican cigar at $4, I think compared to the other stuff you get, a bundle cigar for $4 or some of the other Dominican Puros out there, this one kind of sticks out in my mind in terms of value. If you're going to be out, put it this way, if you're going to be on the golf course, right, first thing in the morning, you go to the shooting range first thing in the morning or whatever, this is the cigar you want to smoke. You want to have a 5 of these in your humidor, and don't age these too long, right? Like after 6 months, I'm not sure what this was about 6 months old. After that, I'm not so sure what it's going to do in terms of flavor. But I thought it was great. I said $5. It wasn't bad.
Fair enough.
It's a good cigar to introduce someone to a smoke.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is.
I agree. Yeah, it had enough flavor to keep you interested.
Okay.
Any others? Did we miss anything?
I have one more.
Go ahead, Mark Jr.
The last one I have is the Davidoff Nicaragua Robusto Tubo. It's a 5x50 Robusto, Nicaraguan Puro. They're pricey at $14 a piece. And I said what I said about the short Corona either last week or the week before. And so I went back, I got a $5 of the short Coronas, and I also got one of these. Now, if I was to spend my money, I would not spend it on this one. I really like the short Corona in comparison to this one. I found the flavors to be a little bit more muted and not quite as focused in this one as the other one. But, you know, for someone that maybe wants something that has a little bit more flavor than a traditional Davidoff's, but not as strong as the short Corona, you know, you might really like this one. It certainly was not bad by any stretch of the imagination. But I really thought that short Corona was special in comparison. So, that's that.
Excellent. I wanted to update everyone on the contests. If you won a contest, you should have either received your cigars or cigars are on your way. I also want to say to listener Gravity, who provided us several cigars for the show, that your a pack of Epic cigars is on the way to Gravity as well. So we should be all caught up with contests. We're not going to run a contest on this show. I want to make sure everyone's caught up with contests, and then we will resume contests maybe next week as well. So if you have not yet received your cigars, please email our new email address, which is theshow@stogiegeeks.com. Goes to all of us now. That's, again,
Absolutely.
theshow@stogiegeeks.com. You can email us there, and we'll all receive it. And make sure that if you believe you've won a contest, we'll go back and check our records and make sure that you get the cigars. I believe at this time everyone should be caught up with contests that we've run in the past. I want to thank everyone for participating in our contests. And, you know, submit anything you think you may have missed. So... thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to our very special
One
guest.
shout out, if you don't mind, I got to do this to my wonderful Mrs. Stogie Santa. 32 years of marriage. God bless you.
Happy anniversary.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I got to throw that in. God bless it.
What are you going to smoke tomorrow?
That is I'm thinking about it. I have a lot. I got 3 or 4 on the list. I don't know. And
what's your
next week.
what's your epic cigar in your humidor that you've just been dying to smoke?
That's fun. It's funny you said. I got Esplendido that I'm still looking at. That remember, those are like 4 years old now.
Oh yeah, 4-year-old Esplendidos would be top on my list too.
Yeah, that's
I got a Cohiba Magico.
Yeah, and
on my list. I got to smoke that.
I'm looking at that, and I got one more of the 2 more of the 2003s Cohibas.
What about Will and Mark Jr.? What do you guys got in your humidor that you're just kind of?
Well, funny you should say that. Another listener of ours, ATL, who we've done some trades back and forth, sent me some cigars recently. So there's a few cigars in that pack that I'm looking forward to. One of which is a EPC Smokin' Joe's Lounge Limited.
That's very good. I had that. That's very good.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I'll tell you what, I'm really excited to smoke it. He also included a Cohiba Magicos in there, but I think the number one cigar that I have in my humidor that I've been dying to smoke, and Paul and I were talking about it, I never really find the time or the patience to smoke really big cigars, but I have a small batch number one. That's probably at the top of my list.
Yeah, you should smoke that.
Smokes to smoke right now.
Yep.
Will, what about you?
So there's one in particular. It's probably not as exciting, but I've been wanting to smoke it. It's that Gran Habano Barracuda, and I've had it sitting for a while, and I just haven't smoked it. And that was a very limited cigar from George Rico, and I've heard some good things about that. So that's one that pretty much I've been eyeballing as far as things go right now.
That's
excellent. Good. Well, thanks everyone for listening, And don't forget to join the CRA cigar.
Paul, you don't get off that easy, dude. What's in your humidor?
Yeah, that's not.
Oh, what's in my humidor that I want to smoke? You know, I've got some older Opus that's been calling me, of course. I tell you what. Outside of that, the Illusion Singulier LE.
Oh, I guess. Yeah.
Which one?
Is that
the
from
10?
the 2010? Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
The 2010. I got quite a few of those kicking around my humidor, and I tell you what, they've been really calling my name lately. We may have to do a show about them because that's of all the Illusione releases, that one kind of sticks out in my mind as really being not a lot of complexity in that blend, right?
No.
But just a solid flavor profile. So I'm curious to see how that's been aging because it's been at least a year or more since I've smoked one.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I have a couple of them too, and it's kind of flown off my radar for a little while.
Will, do you have any of those?
I have one more of those left, I think. I got to double check that.
Double check. If you don't, we'll send you one, and I think we should feature it on the show because I think it would make
I
an
gotta
interesting
remember.
show.
So okay, I'll talk to Will off the. I gotta remember the two that I gotta send down.
So again, don't forget to join the CRA, and thanks everyone for listening to the
God
Stogie
bless.
Geek Show. We'll
God
see
Thank
everyone
you.
next
Thank
week.
you, everybody.
I hope
Thanks,
you're still
everyone.
awake, and God bless you. Okay, what we said we're gonna do for Will? What were we talking about, Will? At the end. Listen up.